give the pace for our demonstration.
صباح الخير. So data is everywhere, صح? A recent study for the لازم هيك؟ مطرب. Okay. A recent study showed that we are at 2.5 zettabyte of data across the world. And within the IC, they are predicting that by 2025, 175 zettabyte of data, worth of data across the worldwide. Can you imagine? Which means that it's a trillion and trillions of petabytes across the world. So everything is driven by data moving forward. And the approach is that how we approach the data analysis from analytics point of view, from an organization perspective. Should we build data warehouse on-prem? Should we go for cloud-based? Should we have the BI semantic layer, have that integrated with the visualization layer? How we can do that? So what we see today is that 70% of the organization are yet to be data-driven. And we want to talk about data and data analysis. It's more of a how we can drive ROI for the organization, right? How we can save time, how we can look at the data and create something from it. More money, less time, less effort for the individuals. And the question starts with few questions, few simple questions. Where we are at today, what will be our future from organization, how we can grow, how we can do a growth in the organization, how we can build something new for the customers that we have or for our consumers that we are working with. However, the challenge goes from different silos, segregating everything in different silos. So you go from business analyst that spends most of the time trying to find the data, looking for the data sets that they want to use so that they can start doing their own analysis, rather than start focusing their time on having insights. So this is one. And they always rely on IT to give them the IT data. Right, so we wait for the IT to build data warehouse, we build the IT to give us the data. So the IT started to be more of a data shifters rather than being a data accelerators or analytics accelerators. And the third piece is the data science, predictive analysis, prescriptive analysis, geospatial analysis. What's our future will be like? What will be our response from a marketing perspective, marketing campaign, for example? What will be the response from the customers? So this goes back to data scientists who are hard coder. They code R, Python, all the type of coding, but then they have no business insights. They don't have the visibility on the business and what they need to do from a business perspective. And the people that, the line of business, managers, leaders that are concerned the most with the data, this is where the challenge is. How can I get the results faster? And where should I start with? So you can see the silos: analyst, you have IT, you have data scientists, and then the line of business, the top management, where they need to take a decision immediately on what's the next best action, right? So this is what we see, is that, okay, فكروا معي بالطريقة هاي إنه الكونسبت is أبني الداتا ويرهاوس، أطلع على الداتا سورسز موجودة عندي إياها، أعمل كل شيء consolidate in one location, and then from there I start pulling the data, and usually what we see today in the market, pushing the data into visualization layer, where I can start doing my analysis عليها. طيب تمام, this is good. But then there is some sort of challenges here, and I'm sorry يعني I might be داخل في presenters here, but the concept is that how well I can maintain the data on the data sources and data warehousing. And then from a visualization perspective, should I be bounded to one vendor? Back to the same point that Mohammed said, is that customers they don't like to be locked to one vendor. They don't like to be locked to one layer of visualization. A lot of changes happening in that market. So this is where we come into the picture, Embark the self-service data analytics from the data source directly to the analytics journey, with the analytics journey from the user's perspective, and then unleash the advanced analytics, the predictive, the geospatial, the data scientist part of it, without relying or having different silos or different servers for different actions. And then build that as part of the whole organization approach so that we can scale, start collaborating instead of just having different, so we close the gap between the IT and business analyst, up to the build where we have the whole organization transformed to a culture of analytics, culture of data, rather than few people concerned about it, and then from there take it. And this is what we see. So you look at it, are you still using spreadsheets? Are you using still Excel sheets for analysis? Who's using Excel sheets for analysis? Excel. Yeah. So if you take يعني خد Excel for example. اليوم Excel can support up to 1 million rows. صح؟ 500,000. This is until it breaks. صح؟ لو بتشوف مثلا take an example, one use case, fraud analysis or fraud detection. Most of the companies, they look for sample data. They look for anomalies. They don't go and analyze the whole data. Why? There is no such a process. It's quite difficult. It's process intense, right? So spreadsheets, everybody's using spreadsheets as of today. They are all doing analysis. And يعني لحد ما نوصل للبوينت بتاعت انه ناخد الداتا الصح عشان نقدر نعمل analysis عليها, this is a time consuming. وبعدين عندك الeffort that we spend on the analysis from an Excel sheet perspective or from a spreadsheet perspective. SQL coding. Everybody's doing their own SQL coding. Type SQL coding is nice. This is what we reach to the point that we need. But is it a sustainable approach? انت اليوم لو كتبت SQL code, I can understand it maybe, but you have your own logic, I have my own logic. You might conflict with it, صح? Same goes for the R, Python, Scala, whatsoever the language that we are using. So this is a key challenge. And this is a key that we need to focus on so that we can truly go and move to the digital transformation from an analytics perspective, not only focusing on the results that, or the outcome, and look at and zoom into the people and what they are doing within their lifetime, how they are focusing on insights and so. And then from there, مين في data scientist؟ في معنا data scientist هون؟ في أي حدا في data science team؟ Data science. Okay. So for a data scientist, basically they go and solve the complex challenges that we have, or the complex questions, like what's the customer churn? What is our future from an organization perspective? Who will respond to our marketing campaign? Who will say yes? Who will say no? Based on certain criteria, certain things, right? And for them to have an accurate data science model and deploy it within the organization take you lots of effort, right? 6 to 9 months of creating the model, creating the code, building the code, deploying the code, and start being used by the line of business or the business analyst. So you can see, so first the thing is spreadsheet, then we go for data scientists to build the data science models for us, and then deploy it, and where to deploy it, and how to deploy it. And then from that, we also back to the IT team, where we need them to give us the data up to date, and give us the, and for IT, مين بيشتغل مع IT؟ مين يعني IT for them tasks. صح؟ IT task. زيها زي لما تقول له أنا الوايرلس عندي مش شغال, or the Ethernet cable is not connected, or I have a USB problem. Same goes for the data. It's a matter of task for them. So they don't rely, or it's not part of their interest. What is the data? Why the data is important, and how I can utilize this? And the last thing is that we see the culture. We see a lot of C-level investing in the AI, machine learning, digital transformation. But this is from high level. When it goes to the underlaying behind it, we see that there is still a gap between all of that. And there is no an actual collaboration for it. So this is one of the approaches. So most of the analysts, 7 weeks, 60% of the analysts are still looking for the data sets instead of doing for the insights. And هو لساته عم بدور على data and trying to find the right data so that they can start doing their analysis. They spend most of their time finding the data, looking at the data, and then spend the other 40% of their time to analyze it actually and get the result out of it. Take Dubai Airport, for example. 4 people working on the finance team, finance department. For almost 1 week per month, they were doing analysis on the fuel consumption. 160 spreadsheets. عشان بس يطلعوا الفيول consumption للايربورت. أنا كنت اليوم بتكلم مع واحد من الكاستمرز. Imagine that the CEO of the Dubai airport اجاله اوفر انه الفيول السنه هاي او اليوم هذا او الساعه هاي راح ينزل drop by 20%. مش this is cost saving على الكومباني على دبي airport. Imagine that the analyst will need to find out what is the fuel consumption for this month or for next month. They need 1 week to come up with it for the report because they need to run all this kind of spreadsheets, reporting, all of that, and then eventually come up with the result. So we're missing an opportunity here. So what we did, we replicated the same logic within Alteryx platform. So now we need one person to run the workflow or the logic, and it took them 5 minutes to get the results. Just 5 minutes. هلا for us هلا الناس بتقول لك اوكي بس هيك احنا are we replicating are we getting rid of people and we focusing more on the platforms؟ لا. الخمسه اللي كانوا موجودين في دبي ايربورت اللي كانوا ماسكين بس الفاينانس وبيعملوا بس الفيول consumption reports on a monthly basis start looking for more use cases. صار عندهم productivity، صار عندهم efficiency اكثر. دبي ايربورت اليوم انت الطياره بتنزل في المطار على اي تيرمينال تنزل، عدد البيرسونز اللي يتحركوا، عدد الناس اللي موجودين في التيرمينال، عند الباسبورت كنترول كم واحد يكون موجود على الباسبورت كنترول عشان to serve the people that coming عشان ما يصيرش عندك congestion صح؟ اللوجج على اي بيل تو بي ينزل على اي اساس يحرك الترافيك الموجوده كلها. This is all done as an analytics as part of Alteryx analytics engine. So you can see that we move them from focusing only on fuel consumption for each and every month to start looking at different aspects of the organization and how they can improve the processes. اليوم تنزل على دبي بالطياره it takes you 15 minutes exactly to be at the taxi station or the parking station, which is good improvement. So this is part of what we do is that we connect to any data source. And the whole concept of it is that we need to expedite the processes when it comes to the business users. Think of it like this. أنا مش عاوز استنى IT يعطيني data. أنا مش عاوز أبني استنى to build the infrastructure so that I can deliver. I can start deliver immediately as of today. I have the capability to connect to any data source. And I saw that we have been positioned as an ETL tool. This is not the case. It's part of the process, the ETL processes. But we are more into pulling the data, automating the analytics, and pushing for the advanced analytics to the diagnostic, descriptive, and geospatial analysis, machine learning, AutoML, and all of these approaches that we see. And building the organization from digital transformation for the whole organization so that we have a comprehensive platform that everybody can use and start collaborating instead of having silos and everybody is doing whatever they are doing without connecting to each other, connecting the dots. And enriching the data, this is very key. People are looking at building the analysis journey on what they have, on what they know. But what about the population? TomTom, الناس ساكنة فين? What is the requirements? Social media. We have a lot of sentiment analysis on the social media. Can we start using this and utilize it with our own analysis? This is all key. This is all related to. And from there you can push it to any data output that you need. So if you want to use Locker as a visualization layer, you use Click, Tableau, Power BI, whatever the visualization layer that you want to use, it's fine. But then you're building your own analysis in one platform and then you can push the output to whatever you want. You can rewrite to the database, you can send it as an email, report, PDF, PowerPoint, whatsoever that you're looking for. And the other challenge is the data scientist. احنا خلصنا هلا عملنا أول شغلة اللي هي part pulling the data. The second is analyzing this data in an automated fashion, trying to figure out the answers, how we can grow. This is how we can grow. What is the customer churn? This is the customer churn. What is our marketing campaign response? What's the ROI? And then I was in a meeting with one of the CMOs of one of the largest banks in Bahrain. And when I asked him how long it will take you to identify the ROI بتاعت أي marketing campaign, he told me 6 months. 6 months to identify the ROI. ليش؟ لأنه هو عنده multi-channel. So he needs to pull the data from different data sources. Start doing the analysis عشان يشوف الماركتينج خلينا نحكي the prospect that came through the marketing campaign versus the prospect اللي موجودين already. اللي عندك branch, عندك social media, عندك websites, عندك webinars, and then he need to identify what was the outcome of that. So it took him 6 months. طب اذا كانت الماركت كامبين مش شغاله خلال 6 شهور هي يعني حنخليها شغاله من investment. And we ask him like, how you ask your CEO about the marketing budget? He said, well, based on experience. I just look at what we have spent, what we can spend, so that we can identify the budget. With the simple access from Alteryx, I don't like to push it as an Alteryx, but then for us, connecting to data sources, multiple data sources, building the logic that you are looking for from analysis perspective, and start getting the results immediately, this is the first step, or this is one of the steps that we do. And the next one is the advanced analytics. أي واحد فيكم بيشتغل مع data scientist, one is to translate the business requirements to the data scientist. This is one key. مش كل data scientists, the coders, the R Python coders understand the business, right? مش كلهم subject matter expert. Some of them are, some of them are not. So one thing is that the first challenge is that how can I translate the business requirement to data scientist so that he can build some sort of model for me or code for me to get the result. Second thing for data scientists, once they build it, where to deploy it? How to deploy it? Should I go back to the database and run it on the database? How can I pull the data from different data sources and push it to the database, to the model so that I can get the results? And what we get out of this. يعني, for example, لو تاخد على marketing, what is the next best offer for our customers? What will be the response that customers تاعونا based على marketing campaign that we are planning to launch? احنا عندنا الداتا وعندنا كل information that we need, but we need something that can connect all these dots together and predict the future. And it doesn't make sense that every time I need to go back to the data scientist, build a model for me, where to deploy it, how to deploy it, and how to use it. Efficiency, there is no efficiency. 40% of the analytics, data science model hasn't been deployed. شغل كلها رايح. So for us, we have the models pre-built within the platform itself. So data scientists now can see what tool that they need to use and embed it within the analytics journey. Or Python coding whatsoever, it's already there. All you need to do is drag and drop the tool that you want from a data science perspective and integrate it with the whole analytics journey. So they pull the data again from any data source, they do the analysis, and then they push it to the model that they want to do, and we'll see this in our session. So you can push it to the data science model, they can run it, get the results out of it. They can extract it as an API, integrated with any application that you have. They can extract it as whatever the outcome that they're looking for. So here we reduce the time. ما فيش داعي للداتا scientists to go and build it from scratch. Now they can have it ready, and they can fine tune it. They can look at the micros behind it, and they can build it. Or they can create their own. But now they have somewhere to place it with. لما تطلع عليها from an organizational perspective, now I have some sort of a pipeline, data pipeline, where the data are sitting there, or the analysis journey is sitting there. Data is pulled from any data source, the analysis is there, and the advanced analytics is there, and the outcome is coming out. أنا رحت اليوم كنت بشتغل مع شركة، طلعت من الشركة رحت على شركة ثانية. My whole job, my whole documentation, everything is there. Anybody else can come and see it and look at it, understand it, and start processing accordingly. مش زي لو أنا بستخدم مثلا R or Python معطيك code. I can write a code in one line, you can write a code in 10 lines, no one can understand actually what was the objective of the code. So this is one of my partners who did something for Mr. Price, one of the retailers in Africa and UK. So basically they pulled the data from different data sources, but in this time they used Snowflake. So they pushed all the data to Snowflake, and from there they start pulling the data on Alteryx and build a predictive model. And the whole purpose of it was to do weather forecast on the retail and the effect on the retail from a weather perspective. خدوا معي مثلا لندن، يوم شمس يوم مطر، يوم شمس يوم مطر، ما فيش اي نوع من انواع الاستابيليتي في الويذر، صح؟ قال لك اليوم اللي فيه الشمس الباربيكيو بقعد على الشلفز up until 11 a.m. بعدين بختفي، خلص الناس كلها اشترت الباربيكيو، عملت شوي وباربيكيو enjoyed it وخلص. اي واحد بيجي بعد الساعه 11 ما فيش باربيكيو، خلص على الشلفز. واليوم الوينتر داي او الريني داي الشمس بضل عليها الباربيكيو up until 6 p.m. وبيخرب وبنكب. So what they did is they start doing forecast model based on the weather. عشان يحطوا الديماند based على الويذر. سو اليوم السني اوكي زيد الديماند او زيد السبلاي. في اليوم اللي ما فيش فيه شمس او فيش فيه مطر او مطر نزل السبلاي عشان ما يصيرش عندك اي ديفكت. And this is what happened. Now you can, this is a predictive model, so this is what we look at it is from a future perspective. So we can look at each and every store, and from each and every store we can identify what will be the total sell-out based on our predictive models that we have within Alteryx platform. شايفين كيف؟ So we moved it. So they connected data from a data source. They did the analysis from existing data perspective, and then they start looking at the weather as to enrich the data and have the outcome so that we can predict, okay, I see that we cannot sell skirts here because there is no requirements for it, but here we can sell sandals or we can sell jackets based on the weather that we see. And this is where organization that focuses on data-driven approaches and implement the right approach, this is where they accelerate from a business perspective. 23% or 23x more revenue from the organization perspective. How many people here look at their competitors from a data perspective, look at the competitors and analyze what they are doing and try to do much better than them? مفيش صح؟ It's quite difficult. يعني هطلع زي طب what if I did it? 6 times you will increase your revenue, and 6 times you will be more likely to acquire new customers rather than just sitting there and waiting for customers to respond to your marketing campaign that you actually don't know if it's working or not working. And this leads to profitability on the 19 times more than what we see today with using the analytics journey. And this goes back to the same culture part of it. We see a lot of investment from an AI perspective. 93% of the C-level are investing and looking, and they're having this vision. But when it comes to applying this vision on silos and individuals, it's quite difficult because there is no an actual platform that can combine all of it together. And this is where we excel. So the bottom line that you embark on the analysis, on self-service analysis, you unleash the advanced analytics platforms. You don't need to go back to rebuilding the models. It's already there. You can extract it, you can connect it, you can see. And we will see that on our demo. And then from there, you can scale across the organization. So it's not one line of business versus other. We can go to HR, we can go to supply chain, we can go to sales, fraud, risk. All of them, they will start using the same concept and start producing the ROI that we're looking for. And then from there, we can build the whole culture or the whole organizational culture from an analytics journey. This is my presentation, and we'll do the demo in these sessions. So we have more deep insights on what we can do and some of the use cases that we have built for our customers. Thank you.